Good morning everybody, it's Kirsty here from Leeds Little Learners. How are you all doing out there? I hope you're still finding plenty of things to do. I've lost my team today. They're taking the day off, my boys, today, so you've just got me this morning. So I'm just going to do a quick video, just some ideas for some number activities. And it was National Numeracy Day yesterday, so it's a good opportunity to show you how what we do at Little Learners and our activities actually support number development and number formation in particular as well. I've got some very simple activities that you can do, most of them using some food things that you probably have or something similar at home. So I've got some raisins. One of my favourite resources, I do all kinds of activities with these in class, is your Hoop Cheerios type cereal. We've got some penne pasta and some fusilli, which is also coloured. If you want to colour your pasta at home, this is a nice activity to start with, and it's really easy to do. All you need to do is get a tub with a really tight lid, and then you put your pasta in. The gel food colouring works best. So if you put some gel food colouring in, for whatever colour you want it to be, and a little bit of vinegar, white vinegar, and basically put the lid on, shake it up, shake it, okay, have a look, is it coloured enough, okay, give it a bit more of a shake, a bit more food colouring, if not, and then put it out to dry. It will dry in about half an hour, and then you can change and do a different colour if you want rainbow or just one colour. And the brilliant thing is the children can do it really well with you, but also you can reuse this loads and loads of times. So once you've had a play with it and done what you wanted, put it in a tub with a sealed lid, and you can play with it tons in all different activities. Okay, so that was a bit of an aside. All right, so to get back to the number, whenever we do any number activities, the first bit of number development for most children is just learning to count and learning the sort of rhyme of the numbers in order. So even with babies, it's really important to be constantly singing number songs with them. That's why we have so many number songs. I'm not going to sing to you now. Just look, there are so many different number songs out there. Just have a search on the internet and you'll find loads of different ones that you can do with them. But it's really good to be doing that from them being babies. And what the activities I'm going to do now are probably for a little bit older children, although elements of them, smaller ones, will do as well. So the first bit, we're going to just focus on being able to count and recognise the numbers. So we've got, on my paper here, I'll just hold it up so you can see, I've drawn some really big numbers. Again, that's going to be the basis of the activities that I'm going to show you today. But the first one is really simple. If you've got big numbers on a paper, it's just doing some counting together and touching the numbers as we go. So we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might be able to do it backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and as you go on, you want to then do that out of order. Like, where's 4? Where's 3? Okay, where's 2? Where's 5? Right. And if you're doing this on the floor, you can also be running and standing on those different numbers as well to start building in that number recognition. Now, the next skill is also to be able to count out a set of objects for each number. So for that, I've got one of my favourites. I've shown you this before, but it's a good motor skill activity as well. And it's some spaghetti stuck in Play-Doh. So this time I've just got a single strand and a blob of Play-Doh. And we're going to stand them next to our different numbers. And then we can practice counting out sets to match our different numbers. So you can use the Cheerio cereals, go on really well. I say it's great for numbers, great for your motor skills as well. So we can do one, oh, it's not coming off my finger, one Cheerio on there. Or the reason I've got the penne pasta is because that actually works really well as well. Okay, if you've got something like pipe cleaners and beads, that also would work really well for this activity as well. So then we put the right number on and we can count to check. 1, 2. Okay, now smaller children obviously can make the mistakes with that, and then you can be talking with them about where we stop for number 2 and how many we need. Yeah, and obviously then carrying on so that eventually we're building up our different numbers and we can go back and count them. If you don't want to use the spaghetti straws idea, spaghetti sticks, you can just do it with your resources by counting out the right number of pieces and putting it next to the number. That will work just as well. So we might put 1 pasta there and 1, 2 for there, Okay, maybe we'll use some raisins. One thing I would say with children with counting activities is just a lot of it's in varying the resources. It's the same skills that you're practicing a lot, but if you're doing it with different resources, for children it becomes a different activity. And also, when you use food, they quite enjoy eating little bits of it. That doesn't matter if you're giving them things that you don't mind them eating, because if you've got 3 things and one gets eaten, you'll be saying, oh, it's not right anymore. Okay, because one's gone, so how many do we need to put on? We need another one. Okay, turn it into a game, it can be fun. Now, the last little bit I want to show you is moving on to actually forming those numbers and the early stages of being able to write those numbers. Now, in Little Learners, we've got our mark makers. If you're familiar with our mark makers, you can be pointing out the different marks that you can see. So we can be looking at number 1 and say, what kind of mark is that? It's Lionel's, it's his straight line mark. Yeah, but when we look at number 2, we can see some of Archie in there. We've got an Archie mark, maybe a bit of Ziggy, is a bit of a zigzag mark at the bottom there. So we'll be looking for those different marks. And then you can use the same resources to practice your number formation. So you can be using your pasta. Maybe the pasta's good for the straight lines. So where we've got a straight line, we can be putting them over the top of our lines. And we've made a straight number 1 with our pasta. Now, it might not be quite so easy on a more curved shape like 3. It's got some Archie rainbow marks. So for this one, I'm going to put my Cheerios on top. Hopefully you can just about see that. So I'm just basically getting them to line them up and put them all around to make the shape. Okay, and you can do that with any of these resources that I'm showing you here, or you can do it with other things you've got at home, like the little pom-pom balls that we use for craft activities work quite well. Any sort of little beads, counters that you've got. Okay, but the food stuff's generally easy and quick to catch. Okay, so we're basically building up those shapes. Very last thing today is also, once you've done that, is to give them a go at making them and writing them themselves. So different ways you can do that. First way I would recommend is to getting them to dot over yours. So they can use a nice pen or finger paints if you want to get messy, and you can dot over the top. So following those lines and the shape, but doing some little dots over. Okay, and if you're quite creative, you might like to make your dots rainbow. Moving on from that would be to actually trace over the lines. So give them a nice big pen, or even got some chalk today, so just changing it up. Okay, and having a go at actually following those lines. Again, talking about, oh, that's a straight line mark. Okay, in number 4, we've got 2. We've got 3 straight line marks in number 4. And the next stage of this is then to have a go at actually writing those numbers themselves and letters. And when they first start, don't worry if it's not perfect. If you can see some elements of that number bit starting to be formed, then they're on their mark making journey. So maybe when they start, you will just see a cross for number 4, because that's what they can see. They can see those straight lines, and that would be the first stage. So sort of encouraging them to have a go and praising them for which bits they are doing really well. So you can say, look, you've got a really good straight line there, and I can see that cross bit. Okay, or maybe for number 3, say, oh look, I can see that you've done Archie's rainbow shape for number 3, and he's got 2 of them. Okay, so really picking up on the bits that they've got and praising them, and then next time thinking how which bit you will have a go at later. So that's me for today. Thanks ever so much for watching. Just before we go, we just want to let you know that Little Learners, we are actually going to be starting from next week. We're going to be offering some online classes, which are different to these ones in that they're going to be on Zoom and they're going to be interactive. They will be paid for classes. We are having to try and earn a little bit of money now to keep our businesses going. We've worked for free now for 8 weeks, and we're trying to both offer a service that we hope is helpful to you at home. There's been really good feedback on the interactive classes. You'll only be up to 5 children at a time, and which means that we can actually talk to the children and they can show us what they're doing, and you can ask questions and things as well. They're going to be, you can book the classes on Little Learners UK website, and for my classes you then need to go to Leeds and see the classes that I've got on. They'll be on a Friday morning at the moment, and as I say, hopefully we'll be going through the different mark makers, but it will be a much more interactive experience, so it would be really brilliant if you could join me for some of those going forward. Thanks ever so much for watching, have a lovely day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.